we can see why they cannot afford to buy certain things and attain certain things in life because they were not well prepared. Instead of having to go to the bank to get a loan, what about the family?
The way things are now, nobody wants to help each other. Everyone is selfish.
These businesses come into the community, like these Chinese restaurants and these other fast food establishments, and they don't hire anybody from the neighborhood. They don't put back none of the wealth back into the community. The wealth is being taken out of the community, and that is one of our key problems.
You now have to be taught, how do I do it in a better manner that I don't get caught up in what I was caught up in before.
Good afternoon, my name is Reginald Dock. I'm here today interviewing a young man who has started a company here, financial literacy, Mr. Dexter Glasgow. How are you doing today, Dex?
I'm okay. Thank you for having me this afternoon. It's my pleasure to be here and to share what I have gathered over a period of time.
Good. My understanding, you created a program that will help from poverty to prosperity. What does that consist of?
Well, over the years, I was able to do a study, an in-depth study on what takes place in our neighborhood with the disempowerment and disenfranchised people. Mm-hmm. And because of the study that I did, I created a program that would help people, period, go from poverty to prosperity if they decide to look at the program that I create carefully. Too many times we in the disempowered neighborhood take things for granted and do not do anything to change our situation. Sure. So I took it onto myself to try and find a way to move from poverty to prosperity, and based on the track record that I looked at with the people that is wealthy in the United States and around the world, when you look at their lifestyle and what they have done, you have no other choice but to follow what they did. The wheel has already been created. Mm-hmm. So the thing is not to create a wheel, is to use that wheel that was created to take you from poverty to prosperity.
Okay, so are you saying that, have you did the study based on population, like different cultures or different races that came up with your studies?
Well, what I looked at is from a geographical point of view, dealing with demographics. The people that live in the urban neighborhood, mm-hmm. They, based on the numbers, when you look at their job titles and what they bring in from an economical standpoint, we can see why they cannot afford to own a home. Sure. Right. We can see why they cannot afford to buy certain things and attain certain things in life because they were not well prepared in their early life for success.
I agree. So I understand that you base some of your studies on the family-oriented type of style from, I guess, husband and wife and the assets of children. So how can you define that for me?
When you look at a man and a woman coming together to have a relationship, we got to draw a big circle.
Right.
And that circle, we will call that trust.
Okay.
And at the side of the circle, we will list the male and we will list the female. And under the male and the female coming together in that circle, we have an account of the things that is ledgered on a daily basis to make that relationship work. You have a man on a daily basis would get on the phone and he said, babe, I'm thinking about you, I love you, can I take you out to dinner? You know,
So you're talking about the courtship of it all.
the courtship of it all. And as you go through the courtship and you document all the things that you did to make that relationship work with a young lady,
Right.
you have no other choice but to look at it as an accountability ledger, because the young lady looks at the thing that you did to gain her attention and to keep her in that relationship.
Right.
And as she looks at the things that you did, the moment you stop doing those things, there is a break in that accountability or in that ledger that is created on your end and her end if she refuses to do the things that kept you in the relationship.
Right.
So most people look at a relationship as a thing of, okay, we'll just meet, have a good time, etc., etc., and somehow a family is born out of that. But when one can truly ledger the actions of each other,
Right.
you're going to know where there is a break in that cycle, and you can fix that. You can truly fix what is there that is broken in that relationship.
So being consistent in the relationship of doing the same things that you did to, like you said, to get the woman, you need to continue to do that same pattern to maintain the relationship.
That's right. So as that is done, if one is to truly ledger that in your diary, a man has a diary, a woman has a diary, and on a daily basis you ledger that, and you can see the consistency and you can see the pattern that is there.
Right.
That is what you need to know and understand moving forward in the relationship, moving in towards marriage, moving towards the direction of having a family or offspring, children, and what that children is going to mean in that relationship to the both of you.
So the children would be considered as the assets from that relationship.
That's right. The children would be the asset of the male and the female coming together in that relationship, and every asset has a value.
Right.
So we have to consider what is the value of you, the male, what is the value of the female, what is the value of the child.
Right.
And when you total that value, you have an estate, a family estate. You know, thus you have things like estate planning. Thus you have things like trust, because it took a trust between the woman and the man to create that child and to create that estate.
Exactly.
So when you start to understand how all of these financial instruments and financial vehicle is created simply from having a relationship with each other, now you can truly understand how to move forward financially and legally, because it takes the legal piece to go together with the financial piece to make it all work.
So what would be the actual steps to take to rebuild my financial, using the same pattern, like you're saying, being consistent, doing the things that I did in the beginning to build up the estate. So when I build up the estate, what can I do with, like your program was explaining to me how I can do to maintain that relationship, to keep it going, and also build off of that?
I would say, first and foremost, in the urban neighborhoods, we do not find people who think they need to use trust. they do not need to create an estate because financially they think they do not have anything to put inside of the trust or to create an estate with.
Right.
You have to think about what you can gather over a period of time to put inside of those vehicles that would make the value or create the value for yourself and your offsprings later on. So by consulting with a lawyer, consulting with an accountant, consulting with an estate planner, you can put all of these things in place, although financially you do not have the actual liquid cash or fiat currency to put inside of the vehicles, the financial vehicles as yet. But just the idea of knowing and understanding these vehicles, these financial vehicles, just knowing
Right.
you have it, knowing that it is created, now you will find a way how to fund these vehicles. Now you'll find a way how to place value inside of these financial vehicles. And that is what we need to pass on to our offspring, because we do not have the education of these vehicles.
So that's the key. The
The
education part.
The education part.
The
of it.
education part is the most important value to get me to understand how this works.
Yes.
So if you can break that down as far as the educational piece, how it's important that plays into building your company. Like, give me a small example of as far as the educational piece of teaching me how to do what? How to conserve my money, how to invest my money, or how would I do that as far as building my estate?
No, first you have to understand the words and the vehicle.
Okay.
The word, we'll start with trust. A trust has three components. It has a grantor, it has a trustee, and it has a beneficiary. And you have to know what part you are going to play inside of a trust. Inside of an estate, when you create an estate, you have the different moving pieces inside of that estate, which is the grantor place something of value inside of that estate.
So you're talking about the key players.
Not the key players and the assets.
Assets, okay.
The key player is going to place an asset into a trust or an estate.
Gotcha.
And that asset has a value.
Okay.
And that value have to be protected, and there have to be a trustee in case something takes place, God forbid, that would take care of the legal aspect of that trust or that estate. And you have to think about the financial repercussions in relation to taxation, because based on the value of that estate, there is taxes that have to be paid based on the value of the estate. So you also have to know what tax bracket you fall under based on the value of your trust and your estate. And the education to that is the most important piece, because we in the urban neighborhood do not have finances in place for second and third generation, and in some cases in our generation we do not even have. We tend not to seek information so we can prepare for our offsprings. So the educational piece, I keep stressing on that, is the most important piece. So you have to understand the word trust.
Right.
What is a trust? What makes up a trust? What is an estate? What goes inside of the estate? And why you want to have that estate, and how you want to protect that estate, and what type of insurance and taxability goes along with that estate.
So how would you explain to, let's say, a woman that's head of her household and there is no father there? How can you explain to her as far as her building her estate based on a single parent point of view?
Well, whether it be a single mother or it be a single father, the ability of that person to earn and hold on to his or her earnings is really important.
Okay.
I was told by a dear friend of mine years ago, one of the best investment is in yourself.
Sure, exactly.
Because you will not make yourself, or you won't allow yourself to fail unless you self-sabotage yourself. And as you understand finances on a daily basis, or if you choose to understand finance and wealth building, and you start to invest in yourself, like creating yourself into a corporation,
Gotcha.
creating in your family into a corporation, and creating an estate for your family, you're going to realize that the extras that you have, that you take and you purchase high or expensive sneakers, expensive clothing, or brand name sneakers, clothing, cars, etc. You can take that finance and you can place it into a different vehicle, like a trust.
Right.
And have that grow from there. So it's not how much you make, it's what you do with what you make.
As you said before about some of us in the urban community don't realize how much value we have with our money and what we can do with our money as far as investing into ourselves, into our children, into our own companies. Because I guess one of the fear factors that we do have is that, okay, I'm living in a poverty area, I don't make much money to try to invest into the estate. So do you need to have a large sum of money to invest in yourself, or can you start with the little as $25 as an example?
You could start with a small sum of money, and they say a little goes a long way.
Yes.
On a daily basis, let's look at the lifespan of an individual. According to scripture, the Bible tells you you're going to live 10. And if you honor your mother and your father, you will have another score and 10 added.
Right.
So you're talking about a score is 20, and you add another 10, that will be 30. So if you live 10, which is 70 plus 30, you're talking an average of 100 years. Right. If you take that 100 years, or let's take 70 years. Let's say you do not live to 100, you take 70 years of your life, and you are able to save $10 a day, just as simple as $10 a day. Or let's do it less than $10 a day. Let's do $365 for the year, $1 a day times 70 years. And we are talking compounding or compounded. You will have more than enough to take care of yourself, and your family.
That's a good plan. That's a very good plan. And sometimes we don't look at it as a sure way of rebuilding our estate. But prime example, what you said was $1 a day, 365 days a year. So if you use $1 a day, that will help build up the estate.
That's
by
right.
putting the money in there each day. So that will work.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, you gross at least $365.
But look at it like this. Look at it like this. The average person that is 65 in the urban community do not have $65,000 sitting in their account.
Exactly.
You talking $365 saved for 1 year.
For 1 year.
For 1 year. So imagine you have $1,000 for the year saved, and that is just minimum. We're talking minimum in your life. Eh, $1,000 for every year for 65 years, 70 years.
So that's money you really have to put into a base account that you cannot touch. You know how some of us go back and want to
No. We are talking. You put this into a trust account, or you put this into an account that you get compounded interest in, etc. And I'm not even talking using the vehicles that is created by the IRS or any other financial vehicle with heavy taxation or that type of taxation going towards it, 501, etc. You know, college funds, etc. I'm just talking basic saving that you can just stack away $1,000 a year.
Put in a jar.
Just stack it away, and you have easily a nice nest egg at the side at time of retirement. And I'm just talking that is just one vehicle.
Exactly. So with your plan, far as poverty
to prosperity.
So can you elaborate a little bit?
Oh, well, we'll really go into that. The vision that I have for that is one that you can take and incorporate the individual. The state allow you to incorporate yourself, and every corporation do have or have the ability to have stocks, shares. And let's look at it from this standpoint. If you incorporate yourself and you issue shares against yourself to family and friends as a fundraiser for your life, you have your ministry that you're in, whether you are an accountant, whether you are a plumber, you're a baker, you're a candlestick maker, whatever you may be. And that is your ministry in life.
Right.
And you create yourself into a corporation and you issue shares to raise funds to fund your business, family and friends. And they decide, okay, they're going to invest in you and your career because you are family. How much money could you raise between family and friends that is investing in you? And you doing the same for them.
As well.
Instead of having to go to the bank to get a loan, what about the family creating a trust and everyone place their paycheck inside of that trust, and that trust now becomes the vehicle with credit to purchase what you need or to take care of you. Let's say you need a home, you need a car. Instead of the burden resting on you, the burden rests on the trust. The trust is the vehicle that has the good credit because all of the finances from the family goes into that trust collectively.
Right.
So now instead of having a $50,000 paycheck and there is 5 of us in the home that is working, we have 5 5s are 25, 250,000. So now you have something to leverage against. Instead of just one account, several accounts that you're trying to handle by yourself, you have one major account, a master account.
So basically, are you saying put all 5 of us will add into this pot? We're gonna say
into the trust.
Into the trust, and then by all of us putting this into the trust, then we can divide that money to pay whatever bills we may have. But it would be far as the group, not just one individual, but it would be everyone paying for that particular bill or whatever.
That's right. All right. Let me give you a good example of the third world country.
Okay.
I came from the Caribbean, and back in the day, I saw my granddad and my family. They executed something that was really wonderful, where they all came together underneath one roof, and they all pooled their money together. And they were able to purchase land, build houses, buy cars, and everyone lived a prosperous life in abundance because it was not from a selfish standpoint.
Right.
When you think about self and selfishness stepping into the picture, I went to school, I got that master's, I got that doctorate, and I am living well. What happened to my brother?
Right.
Am I not my brother's keeper?
Exactly.
So you have to learn to be your brother's keeper in family and in community. Imagine this scenario taking place with every family. In America, the average family is mother, father, and 2.5 children or 3 children.
Right.
And imagine these children coming of age where they start working and attaining currency so they can take care of themselves and pay into the family trust. Imagine from day one, as they start working, they start placing money into that trust, and that trust takes care of them and their family as time move forward.
Well, that's basically, that is what history speaks about, how back in the slavery days that the families came together and put their money all in the pot to help one another, who was going through a struggle, whatever. That money was always there for the family. I think we done got too modern these days, where, as you say, the selfishness seeps up in us, that we begin to worry about ourselves and our circle only. As they say, a village is to raise a kid. I think this would be helpful for me, as a father and a provider for my family, to practice that step that you're talking about, because I think it would benefit not just only me, but my entire family. Generations after me will be able to take that concept and do that for their family.
Of course. Let's look at the child. Imagine from the day that child is born, the day that child is created, and the documents is created by the state in relation to the birth certificate and the certificate of live birth, the social security card. These are instruments that you have to use for that child, and each and every one of us have it to use in relation to banking, in relation to legalities when you are dealing with the courts, etc. Imagine from day one, as soon as you get that social security card and that birth certificate in place,
Right.
you create that child into a corporation. And every birthday, you increase the value of that child by placing funds into the coffers or the coffers of that child account, corporation account. You create a Dun and Bradstreet number for that child. And in case you do not know what a Dun and Bradstreet number is, let me explain what Dun and Bradstreet does.
Yes.
Dun and Bradstreet monitors corporate credit. So based on the actions of that corporation to have trade lines, and a trade line is, for example, a credit card.
Okay.
A trade line is an account that is monitored and can be ledgered on your Dun and Bradstreet account to show if you are a good steward of that account, if you are paying back what was issued to you as credit. So imagine you have a child created into a corporation. You create a Dun and Brad number for that child.
Okay.
You create a credit line of credit for that card, for that child. You start with a secure line of credit. So instead of buying Jordans, instead of buying Nikes, instead of buying Fendi, Gucci, or etc., whatever you want to spend on birthdays, etc., you take that money and you create a line of credit for that child by getting a secure credit card at the bank, and you use that credit card until it becomes an unsecured credit card over time.
Okay.
And that is ledgered on the Dun and Brad, that gives that child a rating that would be almost 10 times greater than if that child tried to create credit for him or herself. Where would a child be? When that child get to the ripe age of 18, would that child have to go and get a student loan, or would that child have corporate credit that is so great that you have built
Right. Right.
that that child could do almost anything he or she wants to do at that ripe age? Imagine that corporation is so mature at the age of 18 that that credit score is so high that that child could actually purchase a business if that child want to. That child could purchase a home underneath his corporation. That child could purchase a car underneath his corporation. And could that corporation write that off as business expense? These are the things that you have to look into. And once you look into what I'm saying, you're going to see it makes sense for each and every individual to go back and get yourself organized or reorganize yourself.
Yes. Let's tap on, you touched something about Social Security card and birth certificate. That becomes a value too to America, am I correct?
Yes. The instruments that government issue to you,
Okay.
Social Security card, birth certificate, they are financial instruments. We all know that Social Security basically is a trust account, and you have a trust account.
Trust account, right.
And
To retire.
yes, and knowing and understanding there is a private side and a public side to each document, I would say it is pertinent or it is wise that one learn about the private side to the documents that you have,
Okay.
because we all use the public side. And let me give you an example of using the public side of the birth certificate and Social Security card. You go to the Economical Development Center in your community, and you apply for Section 8
Right.
for TRA for housing because you are under hardship.
Right.
The state agent asks you for Social Security card,
Birth certificate.
birth certificate. They want an address to where you at or where you live, so they can identify you and
The
your
value of you.
and your account.
Okay.
They can identify you and your account.
Okay.
And when you give that information to the agent that work for the state or the county, they enter the information from the Social Security card and birth certificate, or whether it be a driver's license, they enter that into their computer system. And when that is entered into their system, it prompts information to come forward out of a database or cyberspace in which this information is kept.
Right.
And when that information comes forth, it tells them what you have sitting in that trust account underneath the birth certificate and Social Security card.
Wow.
Let me give you a simple example. A child is born and that child comes out deformed, some sort of disability that child have.
Yes.
The mother is able to go down to Social Security
Give assistance.
and get assistance for that child. That child never worked one day in his or her life. Where did the units, and listen to my words, where did the units come from to be forwarded down to the mother in the form of a food stamp, whether it be a card, or whether that mother or father can go at the ATM and withdraw from an account that is set up for that individual. Where did that come from? How do we know how much is there so that child could be taken care of for the rest of his or her life? These are questions that we have to ask, because we take things for granted, or the state or the federal government is there to take care of us. But where did the currency come from for that particular child that never worked a day in his or her life?
Wow.
Question, food for thought. So as you look into things like this further, you have to go and visit the laws that is applicable under the Social Security Administration, underneath the federal government, you know, and such things will bring you information that would be eye-opening to the individuals that is trying to structure themselves financially, because you live in a economically disempowered neighborhood.
I say, Mr. Baxter, your programs seem that it's very beneficial for us as a people, and I know from from poverty to prosperity, you have a great plan that will help us.
Well, yes, I can go into a little more detail if you want me to.
Well, how can they find you? If anybody's interested into your program, how will they be able to find you?
Well, I'm a part of Sidewalk University Network Media, or you can find me at dexterglasgow.com. You can drop me a note at dexterglasgow.com, and I will have information there readily available for you to read. Hi, I'm Dexter Glasgow, and I'm doing a financial literacy documentary, Poverty to Prosperity. And I'm here with Brother Raheem this afternoon at Scoville's Barbershop, one of the cornerstone facilities and barbershop in our community. It serves the community well, and the owner is Mr. Scoville. And inside of the shop, he has friends and family that come through here on a daily basis, and I'm interviewing them on the way that one feel about the situation or the financial situation in our community. And Brother Raheem, my question to you today is, how do you feel about the poverty in our neighborhood?
Well, right now, I believe it's in an all-time low. Like, the resource is very, very low right now. I mean, everybody's benefiting from it, other than us. You know, in our community, I mean, the minority. And if you're like an elder and you're still trying to work, it's very hard right now. Very hard.
I know there is the Economical Development Center around the corner, and they have programs that is allocated for people who is elderly and people who's going through hardship. And I myself haven't gone through or had to attend the Economical Development Center, but the programs that they have there is in relation to making sure one who go through hardship is taken care of. Do you see the individuals that is taken care of? Do you see the programs there are really benefiting the community, or they need to improve on the programs that is created to help the community?
Well, for some of the programs, the younger people are not attending the workshops. You know, they're not attending. They got construction jobs going on right now, and when you go to the job fair, the only people you see there is basically elderly people. And that being, we was against them because of the age. They really want like 30 and under, you know, but they're not taking advantage of that opportunity. It's out here. They didn't had it in East Orange, Orange, Newark, Irvington, and the turnout have been very low when it comes to younger people. Now with the older people, it's a different story. They attend the job fair, but again, their age is used against them. So it's a twist. It's like if you're younger and you want to work, it's there for you. If you're older and you want to work, it's not there for you.
Based on what I have seen in our neighborhood, it is economically challenged. And I myself, I have been arrested, and I have misdemeanors. I had to get them expunged. And most black men in my community, like myself, have been arrested at some point for something that was done in their past. And the programs that they have for people like myself re-entering the community and re-entering the workforce and entering society, based on what I have researched, you may go and attend the program, and when you get out there to the workforce, they still hold it against you based on the atrocities that you committed, and you spent the time in the institutions paying for it. What is your views on that?
You're so right. Excuse me. You're so right. I'm still paying for things I did 20 years ago. Like, I tried to get a maintenance job about 5 months ago. They said that they will hire me even though I had a record. 2 weeks later, I got the letter saying that they will have to disqualify my application because of my past. Although they said they were going to give me the job. And the charge, like I said, is from 20 years ago. So what I had to do, I had to get out here and create my own work. I had to create my own work.
Well, like myself, I am self-employed. And people like myself who have been incarcerated for a short period of time or a long period of time, financial literacy education is very important to us. And based on the time spent away being institutionalized, based on the time spent away from society and having to integrate yourself back into society, once you try to educate yourself and integrate back into society, for some reason that blockage is there, and I think the laws that is applicable to your situation need to be amended, it need to be changed. And that forced me to become self-employed. It forced me to become self-educated. It forced me to become a person to generate my own resources. And once you learn to do that, you have to learn how to manage your resources properly. So starting a business and creating a sole proprietorship, creating LLC, creating a S Corp or a C Corp, do you think there is a need for that to be taught in our, I would say, community or our environment, to take yourself and myself forward in life? Because we are coming up on the age of retirement, and this is something that we have to look at. We have to visit this carefully, and we were not taught about how to manage finances. We weren't taught about how to structure ourselves properly as we get older. What is your views on that?
We need programs to educate us to do like you were just speaking about. We need more programs like that so we can be self-sufficient, especially if you have a record or a past that's being held against you. We need better education with financial, abilities that to take you to a next level with your own self, where you can answer to yourself, and you got to worry about going to a job interview and they bringing up something you did years ago. We need to be able to start our own business. We need more role models. We need more active leaders to get involved with this, with this struggle, because it's a struggle. It's a struggle.
Thank you for your time. and hopefully you can, like myself, find a way to have a breakthrough financially and legally with your everyday life issues. Thank you, Brother Raheem.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
You're welcome. I'm here with Brother Latif this evening, and we are trying to get some information on the state of affairs of our community. We live in an economically deprived community, and Brother Latif, my question to you is, what do you think, or what do you have to share with the public about the community that we live in?
Actually, it's critical out here. It's a state of emergency. Murders, street stuff. You know, it's hard living out here. I have no idea what's going to change it. It has to be something with the government and the people. That's what we have to see to. The children. That's the future.
Well, early on, I had an interview with a young man, and we spoke about creating creating a family trust and creating an estate for the people in our community. And with the ability to create an estate, create a trust, it will help generate, or it will help place or put in place a vehicle for us as the older heads to finance or fill this trust with the type of finances that is necessary. We know, because we live in a community where very little finance flow through, we have to be very careful about what it is we do with our finances. My question to you is, what do you think we can do to generate a little more finance that we can place in a trust vehicle or place in an estate for our children and grandchildren?
Wow. That's really hard to say, because the way things are now, nobody wants to help each other. Everyone is selfish. In order for something like that to happen, we have to unite, and that's something that don't seem like it's going to happen right now. Unity is something that we had back in the 60s. It's gone. There's no more unity with us. Everybody is for themselves. So you got to get over that mountain, brother.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for the information you gave.
My man.
I'm here with Alan. Alan is a young man that grew up in this community, East Orange. He's been here for a very long period of time. He have seen the city at its best, and he have seen it at its worst state right now. Alan, what do you think should be done or could be done in our community to make our community better and make the people's lives in our community a better life to live? How do you?
Okay, basically, from what I see, is that just like every other community in the United States, when it comes to any city, what I'm talking about, where black people live at, you have money being absorbed from the neighborhood. I mean, the money, it leaves. I mean, these businesses come into the community, like these Chinese restaurants and these other fast food establishments, and they don't hire anybody from the neighborhood. They don't put back none of the wealth back into the community. The wealth is being taken out of the community, and that is one of our key problems in the black inner cities.
I agree with you 100% on that. And even in the community that we exist in, when you go down the avenue from the top of Central to the bottom of Central Avenue, there are few black businesses that exist within our community. You have people from the outside, like you say, coming in, setting up businesses and falling in the resources or taking the resources elsewhere. And I urge the older folks, I urge the middle-aged folks and the younger folks in our community to look at this situation, do something about it. Go to school, do some type of business that is relatable to finance that you can empower your community, you can hire, and you can be able to purchase a home in your community, because homeowners have a say. People who has property have a say. If you do not own property, you put yourself at a disadvantage. So the laws that is created can be changed without you saying and having a vote. Alan, thank you
And
for...
another thing, when I speak up, and when you go to these community places where you can voice your opinion, nobody shows up. So that's another problem we have in the black communities. Nobody shows up to these places where they have forum where you can speak things that's on your mind that you feel that isn't right in the community. Nobody shows up, you know. So if you don't have no voice, you don't have any say. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
My name is Dexter Glasgow, and my contract to the world is I'm an urgent, trust and giving man. And I'm here at a Christian Fellowship Church with Sister Ben, the elder and one of the pastors of the church. And we are going to address the situation of financial literacy in the community in which we exist. And we are going to try and tie in the church views on financial literacy and how the church interact with the community and what the church would do or could do to help along the line of finances and the well-being of the community. Introduce yourself, please, sister.
Hi, good afternoon, viewers. My name is Dr. Dolores Penn, and I am the co-pastor of Deliverance Christian Fellowship, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here this evening with you to talk about the financial impact on the church as well as the community.
Well, we know the church is registered as a 501c3 through the state, and it is a vehicle that is used to empower and bring the people together underneath the title or I would say the umbrella of God. And I have seen in my lifetime where churches have done great things, and some churches, because of what they have done and how they have done it, have been ridiculed. But that is neither here nor there in relation to what it is we are going to address. Growing up in the islands, there was a song that we sang, "The windows of heaven are open, and the blessing is pouring tonight. Joy, joy, joy in your soul, since Jesus made everything right. I give him my old tattered garments, and he gave me a robe of pure white. Now I'm feasting with honey from Canaan, that's why I'm happy tonight." And I had the opportunity to break that song down and interact it with a financial institution and look at it from a financial standpoint. And when you talk about the windows of heaven, we're talking about going to a place where blessings is being poured out on the people that go to God. There is the Almighty God that created the heavens, the earth, the universe that we all exist in. And then there is God on earth as in government, ordinance department. My question to you is, how do you see the church interacting with government ordinance department first, and how do you see the church interacting with blessings from the Creator?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, as far as the government is concerned, you said we are a 501c3 corporation, which means in essence we are tax exempt. The thing about our church, our goal, our aim is to empower the community. That's a part of our mission and vision statement, not only spiritually but also financially. We have done and we do conduct programs to help the members of the community in a financial aspect. But as far as giving, or as far as the church is concerned, with even that song that you rehearsed, the windows of heaven are open. That verse, that song is taken from a verse in Malachi 3:10, which says, "Bring ye the tithes into the storehouse, and prove me now, wherewith said the Lord, if I would not open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing." And basically what it's built upon, it's a promise. It's built upon God saying, bring 1/10 of your earnings into the church, into the coffers of the church. I want you to give in the physical realm, and I, in the spiritual realm, will pour out my blessing upon you. It's the principle upon which we gain wealth. And I see it not only in the church, but the world has already also adopted that particular principle, because most financial corporations, when they do their budget, they put X amount of dollars away to do what? To give to the poor, to give to the needy. Okay, to give to charitable organizations. It's the same principle of giving. So we believe that if you bring your tithe, 1/10 of your earnings, into the storehouse, physically, God is going to bless you spiritually. And it goes through the whole realm.
Well said. Based on some studies that I was able to do and information attained, I want to look at Jesus, because the song says Jesus made everything right. You got to bring him your old tattered garments and he'll give you a robe of pure white. And when we look at the word Jesus, I'm looking at it from the earthly government, not from the heavenly aspect. Jesus will be relatable to state, because federal government will be relatable to the Father, because everything comes from the federal government down to the state, then to the people. So Jesus is the state, which is the interceder between the people and federal government, which is government ordinance department, right? So I'm just looking at it from that standpoint. So I'm not taking it and don't take it in no different way. If Jesus is the interceder, or the state is the interceder between the people, and Jesus died on the cross to pay the price for everyone. Your sins and your atrocities have been paid. It's a prepaid account that he established. The state, according to what I have been able to review and look at, the state already have a prepaid account already established for the people, we the people of, whether it be the state of New Jersey, New York, or the United States. And that prepaid account is set up through the Social Security Office and Vital Statistics, in which one is registered first at Vital Statistics and then down at the Social Security Office, bringing that together to create a trust account that you are attached to be taken care of in time of need, in time of hardship, and at old age.
And that's correct, because you have those laws that have been passed in 1965, okay, those amendments which take care of the elderly and those that the sick the incapacitated. They have special means. And also you have those that live at or below the poverty level. There are also ordinances that have been decreed that care for them. Sometimes if it's on a medical, we call it Medicare or Medicaid. Okay? And then you have those that receive a financial stipend once a month to help with their well-being.
Okay. I want to visit the old tattered garments piece.
Okay.
I'll give him my old tattered garments, and he'll give me a robe of pure white. Now, from a financial standpoint, when one credit or so-called credit is not being taken care of the right way, or you have not been a good custodian of your credit, you end up in a situation where you are economically challenged. And the state also, which I would refer to as Jesus at this point, give you the ability to incorporate yourself and get an EIN number and give yourself a new start.
Okay.
So you basically giving him your old tattered garments, and you're getting a robe of pure white, which is a new start under a new name to start your life all over again. Now, with that new start that one is getting from a financial standpoint, how do you see that person who has that blemish past, not only from a credit standpoint, but from a standpoint legally, where he has been incarcerated and get himself caught up and now trying to clean his life up and use the process of getting himself incorporated, new EIN to do business, but that person still wants to enter the church domain and be a part of the institution that is run to help society.
Okay. That old tattered garment, when I look at it, I know you explained it from a physical standpoint. From a spiritual standpoint, it really speaks of salvation, where we come as we are, and we are like filthy rags before him. And he cleans us up and gives us a robe of pure white that's washed in the blood. The church is an institution established by God, but it exists in the physical realm. We are here to care for those that are in need. The basic issue or problem that I see, and this is from a personal standpoint, with people who have had a raunchy past, and I've had an opportunity to do it over and start over again, they need education. They need education as to prevent what had happened in the past from reoccurring. The church is one of the greatest educators that I know of. It helps you so that you don't repeat. If you are not taught how to correctly use a credit card, in no time flat, you would find yourself with a dirty slate one more time. And so every single person who has been forgiven, whether it be by the state or by Jesus, has been forgiven. You now have to be taught, how do I do it in a better manner that I don't get caught up in what I was caught up in before.
Well said, well said. You leave me with a smile on my face, because the educational piece is what I'm really trying to bring forth to the public, so they can be empowered from that standpoint. With the operations of 501c3, it allows the church or whatever institution that has that legal status to have members, and the members have the ability to be on the books of that 501c3, which could in turn give them an exemption to use that interacting with the corporations out there. For instance, if you go to Staples and you use the membership of the 501, you should be able to be tax exempt. So in that way, you're saving whatever little you're going to pay on taxes because of the exemption and the membership you have with that institution that is registered as a 501c3. There is other ways of using the 501 that can help the members of the church and other institutions. What other way that you see possible that could be done from a financial standpoint, of a membership standpoint, to help the members of the church or people coming into the church to take them to the next level financially?
Well, basically, what you can also do besides running educational programs, it opens us up to receive federal grants, so that we can incorporate bigger and better programs. So let's say, for instance, we service a community where computer literacy is a problem. We understand that in this day and age, you need to be able to at least use the computer as a tool. You need to be able to type. The children are given computers, homework to go home and do on computers. But if you service a community that's under the poverty level and you realize this, you can petition the state and let them know, the community, I have done a needs assessment of my community within a 1 mile radius, and I can determine that of the 15,000 school children that are there, and 4,000 homes represented, 1 out of every 100 home has a computer. And that needs to be corrected, because if the kids get homework to do on the computer and they don't have access to the tools, they can't work. So therefore, you now apply for a federal, state, or local government grant, because there are lots of them out there, and having that 501c3 status helps you to be able to attain that grant. And then you can do a community program where you educate, you bring the children in, and you educate the community on computer literacy, homework. We have a program like that. But then what it also does for the new members coming in, those people who are coming in, we like to say, who are busted and disgusted with life, who have a nice turnaround and want to be able to do it differently, we can now offer them employment through that grant. So it helps the new members financially, it empowers them. And it rolls over, because as we pay the members and they pay their tithes, okay, the coffers keep coming in. Does that make sense?
That make perfect sense. If you need to reach the good doctor here, I believe she could give you her information, give the information of the church, and all is welcome. You know, the house of the Lord is always open, and the state help made it possible through the status that they granted the church. So come ye that is heavy laden, and the church is here to give you rest. Thank you very much, and please share the information of the church one more time to the general public.
Thank you. Again, we are Deliverance Christian Fellowship, and we are located at 488 South Orange Avenue, Newark, New Jersey. We are at the corner of South 17th Street and South Orange Avenue. Our telephone number is 973-371-1460. Please, you're welcome at any time. Our services are Sunday at 10:15 a.m. Please come join us any day, anytime.
Thank you.